and something like that. It's a stupid video for one of the NSA chapters.
Which one?
NSA Minnesota. Yeah, like there's anything funny in Minnesota. You know, I gotta tell you, I hate doing these things for chapters. They're such a pain. Nobody watches them. But I told them I'd do it. So, all right, what we'll do is I'll count down 3, 2, 1, and we'll just start. And just remember, when you post this thing, cut all this stuff off the front, because I look like an idiot if they see this. And, oh, God, I don't want to do this. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Roll.
Hi, I'm David Glickman, professional speaker, humor writer, and former stunt double for Mark Scherenbrock. Your newsletter editor, Molly Cox, contacted me and asked me if I would do a brief video for your April newsletter. Well, she didn't ask me as much as she begged me. She's a very needy woman. But she told me that if I don't do it, Mark LeBlanc is going to do it, and he's just not that funny. So I agreed to do it. And if we're going to talk about humor, let's start by talking about the very beginning of this video you just saw, the fake opening that I did. It looked as though you were seeing something you weren't supposed to see. It showed vulnerability on my part, and that hopefully made it funny as you watched it. That's called a fake mistake. I call it a fake mistake. It's putting something in, a planned mistake that your audience is going to think is just happening right then and there. They see your vulnerability, they find that funny. That's why we love to see outtakes. That's why we love to see mistakes. That's why we love to see on Saturday Night Live when the actor can't keep a straight face. The only caution is you can only do it once in front of an audience. Once they realize possibly that you're doing it a second time, they'll realize that it was planned. So then, as I moved into the video, I mentioned 3 of your chapter members, Mark Scherenbrock, Molly Cox, and Mark LeBlanc. And by doing that, I was able to go with my mantra, the more specific the humor, the more terrific the humor. When you can customize to the people who are watching you speak, they find you funnier than possibly you are. Now, the 3 lines I did about 3 of your members, they were not hilarious. They were mildly amusing. But you probably laughed because it becomes an inside joke. You feel like you're in on something, and it's something that only you would understand because it's been customized for you. So that's an easy way to get humor just from what's going on with your industry, your client, and the people sitting in that room. Now, when it comes to crafting humor, people will come up to me all the time and they will say, but Dan, how do I know what's funny? And I say, my name is not Dan Glickman. He was the Secretary of Agriculture. I'm David Glickman. And I'm not Marty Glickman. He's a sportscaster. Ask Ross Bernstein. I'm David Glickman. Now, what I say to them is, how do you know what's funny? You don't. Only your audience does. And that's the bad news. That makes it difficult for someone trying humor. The audience is the only arbiter of what is funny. So you have to do trial and error. You have to do R&D. You take something that you've crafted that you think is funny, you have to test it in front of the audience. Now, the first time, it may or may not work, but don't give up on it yet. I always suggest you do it at least a second and a third time to see, because once you've done it the first time, your confidence hopefully builds up. If you truly believe it's funny, give it at least that third time. And then if you haven't gotten a laugh 3 times in a row, put it away. You might be able, don't throw it out, put it away. You may be able to use it again later at some future time or year. Now, the other thing that is helpful when crafting humor is write your content first, then go back and try to put in something funny. If you try to write funny first, you get this writer's block, and if you're not a naturally funny person, it'll stop you. Go with your expertise. Write what you know first. Write your content, then go back and see where you might be able to find places where humor could work. I call it comment on the comment. I'll give you an example. I did a humor punch-up for a keynote speech for a speaker just last week, and she had a line in there. She wrote, you can count on the North Star to guide your journey. That was a line from her content. You can count on the North Star to guide your journey. And then I added to that, you can also use a GPS, but I can tell you with absolute certainty that the North Star has never said recalculate it. Okay? Commenting on the comment. You can also, you can almost do it as an aside. When you do the funny line, you can almost turn as though you're commenting on what you just said, turn to different people in the audience. And that is a much easier way to craft your humor, commenting on the comment. So I'll wrap up with this thought. If you're still feeling challenged on the humor and you don't want to put it all throughout your program, which I think you should, it should be everywhere throughout the program, then at least put it in the opening and the closing. At least there. Because in the opening, that is where the audience starts to like you. They get to know you. We do business with people we like. We like people that can get us to laugh. So get them to like you right from the get-go. Then at the very end, it's important to have humor there because you want them to remember you, and they will remember you if you made them laugh. So happy April. Hope you enjoyed our little video thing here, and I hope to see all of you at the NSA convention this summer in Washington.